Welcome back, guys. Joe again here from Third World Aquatics in another video. Welcome to the channel. This one's going to be about the 900 gallon, 360 gallon, and 540 gallon update on all three tanks. So we're jumping on this project. And it's been kind of a long, drawn out project, and there's times where just like nothing has happened at all. It just went dormant for months and months and months. But now that the 1,000 gallon tank is online, this gives us the ability to finally slide over and get back on this one. Now there is another video that we did on this one. It was released a couple months ago, so just go to the video section on our channel, scroll down and look for the crane raising the 900 gallon aquarium. That'll get you up to speed on this one right here if you're new to the channel. Now this tank is 10 foot long, 3 feet front to back, and 4 foot tall with a full coral insert. Now granted, I can understand that a lot of people don't like the coral inserts, but you gotta admit, this is not something that you would tear out and throw away. This thing is massive with a 360 degree view.
Oh, hell no!
So the tank obviously is just going to be general population. It's going to be a community tank with tons of different saltwater fish that hopefully there's a lot of harmony and they all kind of work together. But I jumped on this the last couple of days, and the big thing was getting the closed loop system completed. So what we're doing is we're using the Vectra, the L1 motor that does about 3,100 gallons an hour, and that's this guy right here. So what I did, and you can see it, some of the stuff is done, some of it's not. Let me get up underneath the stand here.
Come over here and look at this deal! What the hell is that? I don't know what the hell that is! What in the hell is that?
So many pipes that have to work together to get to the basement in this situation. So just to give you a quick overview, there are two supply lines. This is the first one, and there's another one right there. Now what I did, obviously I've tied them together. There's the first T. There's the second T there, but you can see, well, I'm gonna get to this one here in a second. They come over here and they work their way to the Vectra L1. So that's the supply. The return lines will work their way all the way back here. I'm going to show you that in a second in the corals. And the second one is right there. And I've got gate valves on both of them. All right, now let me go back to this T. This T I threw in, so if I wanted the ability to do a water change, let me reposition, but that works its way over to this 1.5-inch ball valve. The closed loop system, the actual supply line, the water actually gets pulled in way up inside here. You should be able to see a screen right there. So that's the one, and the other one would be on the opposite side of this formation here, but it gets pulled in there. So both of those come together with that pipe underneath, and eventually they're going to work their way over to that motor, and then the return line comes right out the top, and it's going to work its way to right there, that little hole that's in that coral, which is a 1-inch hole. And then the other one is on the opposite side of the tank, which is right there. So that's pretty slick. So But now that the closed loop system is in a position where no water will leak because I've got all the gate valves and ball valves on, it's still not 100%, but I'm in a position now where I can break out the garden hose and spray down this entire coral formation and get all the residue and all the excess sand that is left from when we vacuumed it out. That's been a couple of years now. Like I said, this thing's been just sitting. There's been so many projects going on in life, but it's time to jump back on this one here. But I think by spraying this down, vacuuming it all out, really cleaning this up, we can then finally put the sand in. And that is going to change the look of this tank big time. You ready for us to jump on the tank? You ready? You ready? You ready? Say, come on, let's get this tank done. All right, guys, that is Sansa, our female Great Dane. All right, let's go ahead and jump on a 900-gallon tank, and let's make this look sweet. Okay, up until today, I used to love 4-foot tanks. Now I can see why guys don't like them. Oh my God, this was horrible. Sprayed it down with the garden hose. They actually cleaned up a lot, and then we took the shop back and cleaned out as best as we could, and then I tried to attempt to wipe down the inside panels. Still needs a little bit more, but man, does that look 100% better. The other thing I noticed when I had the shop vac down inside there, I mean, obviously it's very easy to hit these corals, but what I noticed was that they're very pliable. I mean, they move around. They're very flexible. So I guess that's a good sign. They're not like, you know, hard and brittle and would snap right off. So that was nice to see that they're definitely flexible and pliable, and there's no issues there. But I think that looks a lot better. So, all right, I get a lot of reflection there. But next up is to put in the sand. All right, guys, we got the sand in the bottom of the tank, and man, does that look awesome. That completely changed the whole look of this thing. So getting kind of excited to be putting the water in here pretty soon. Obviously, we got a lot of work to do before such time, but one other thing I wanted to point out was here on the left and here in the back. When we're all done, you're not going to see that because downstairs there is two big mirrors. This one here measures 3 by 4, and this one is 4 by 4. And once those go in, you're going to be able to look through the mirror and look onto the back side of this coral formation, and that's going to be pretty slick. You're not going to be able to see through the tank like you do right now, because that is where the pantry is, and that's kind of the way we built this whole corner and the way we did the layout of this tank. So we always knew it was coming. So the other thing I want to point out real quick is Chris was here the other day, the cousin, and we built this soffit a while back, and he took some measurements, but he is going to build the upper and lower cabinetry, and it's going to be like in 5-foot sections. And it's going to be like a cherry flavor that actually matches the cabinetry in the kitchen. So you're going to have 5-foot sections on the top that can be able to be pulled down real easy. And the same with the bottom. So if I need access to any of the piping or filtration system underneath, that'll be just a quick connection and I'm in there. So, but other than that, we're looking pretty good. I mean, that really changed the whole look of the tank. So very pleased with that. So that's the 900 and where it stands now. Now I got to show you the other mystery tank, the 360-gallon W-DOS tank. All right, guys, here is the third and final tank of this 3-tank build-out. So this is the 360-gallon W-DOS aquarium. Believe it or not, guys, this company went into business in early 1960s and is still in business today. Phenomenal business. So this thing here measures 8'10" from corner to corner. The viewing window is actually 24 inches tall. It's kind of a weird dimension, but it's actually around 28 inches front to back over here, and the same over here, and then roughly 36 inches in depth from that point right there to the front wall. This thing actually has 18 separate pieces of glass that go all the way around to make up this one. So gorgeous tank, oak stand, oak canopy. And we've been sitting on this thing for a while. Obviously it's in the master bedroom, and I think it's going to look pretty slick tied into this 3-tank system. So one final thing here, I think the only thing we're really going to be doing with this tank here is I noticed when they built it, they never had any form of overflow boxes. So I've kind of come up with looking at installing one right here and over here. So I'm either going to be drilling holes in the bottom for the pipes that are coming in for supply and return line, or maybe I'm going to look into the J-tubes that go up and over, but I don't know, I'm kind of finicky on the drilling of the holes, so we're going to be looking into that. The other thing too is it's probably safe to say I'm going to probably cut out some areas and reintroduce some new silicone. Tank is kind of old. I really can't go wrong by introducing some new sealant. So other than that, it should be kind of a quick turnaround on this one. Just a matter of taking the supply and return lines down through the floor and head over to the filtration system on the other side of the house. All right, guys, quick update on the 900-gallon tank. Obviously, we're looking pretty good. So last night, I broke out the 4-foot and the 6-foot level, which is actually sitting right now on top of the tank. And I was going around everywhere and just kind of checking things out and kind of refreshing myself on this whole thing. And for the most part, we're looking pretty good. But there actually is a problem. I'm going to touch down on that here in a quick second. So, as you guys know that got, acrylic tanks, pretty good size aquariums, it's very common to put like a 1/2 inch, 3/4, even 1 inch thick foam, styrofoam, something between the tank and the stand. Well, when we purchased this aquarium a couple years back, and we went to the location, and obviously seeing it for the first time, we were blown away. But as we were checking things out, we noticed, it didn't take long, when we were talking about maybe sliding the tank off the stand, we couldn't do that. And we couldn't do that because if you look real closely here, I'm going to try to find a spot here. This darkened area right here, what that is the manufacturer glued it. Everywhere on the bottom of the tank, between the 3/4 plywood and the acrylic, I have no clue why they did this, but they glued it. You can see it right there. So because that being said, we could not slide the tank off the plywood. And to make things even worse, they put screws around the perimeter and they screwed the plywood to this tubular steel, this is actually the original stand. What I did was, if you remember in the first video, we actually picked up the entire thing with slings and chain falls, and we had everything floating in the air, and I took a metabel grinder, and we cut off the original legs. Actually, probably see a little bit of excess shavings right there, not shavings, but the shiny part from the wheel. So I cut the legs off. So this whole thing was floating in the air, the tank, the plywood, the top of the stand. And then obviously we built the new stand. We put our new piece of 3/4 plywood on top of it. And then we slid everything right on top of this. Which, that's pretty good because it kept a lot of the integrity, kept everything together. And obviously we had no choice because we could not slide the tank off the plywood. And the plywood couldn't come off that because it was screwed. So for the most part, what you're looking at is kind of like everything's original. We really didn't compromise or affect anything here. Everything's just the way it was. Our stand is level. There's nothing wrong with it. But going back to where the problem lies. This is kind of mind-boggling, but this is something we definitely have to take care of before we put water in it. there is a distance. I'm trying to put the flash on real quick. There's a distance between this 1-inch acrylic and the plywood where the tank is kind of floating. So I'm going to try to catch just the right spot here. But what really seals the deal, and so that you guys can really see it, if I take a piece of paper here, I can slide it right between the two. So that's not good. You can see I can go all the way down to here. And I can almost put the full sheet, I can put the full sheet in there. I start walking it to the left, it catches right about there. Let me see how far I can get on here. That's about it. So we've got this situation on this side and on the opposite corner. This is kind of a tricky one to film. You can kind of see it right there a little bit. So the tank is floating. The tank is floating on this corner and the opposite corner, probably, let's call it maybe 18 inches by 18 inches on both sides. So what we need to do is we need to shim up this 3/4 plywood. And you can see I've got some shim stocks here, and those guys right there go roughly between 5 and 20 thousandths. We cannot have the tank floating in the air. We need to raise this up. So I need to put the shims right here. You want that surface contact underneath. It's hard to move with my bare hand. But we need to raise this up. These two have got to touch. So there's the original manufacturer, Tenacore. So Tenacore has gone under, and now it's my understanding that out of that was Titan Aquatics is what has been created. And they're still in business today. So problem is over here, and the problem is over there. And I guess all I'm saying to you guys, word to the wise, don't be in this situation. You need to definitely make it so that you try to get the most amount of surface contact from the bottom of the tank to the stands, especially in this case with 900 gallons of water. You don't want that floating. I actually talked to Jonathan yesterday about this, and he agreed. He was in a couple of videos back where we were polishing the acrylic from Quantum Aquatics down in Columbus, Ohio, and he said same thing. Absolutely no. He goes, you could fill it and it'll hold, but what happens over time, 18 months from now, because of all that weight and stress, if this goes down, it's going to pop. And if it pops, obviously, that can be pretty bad. All right, so here's that 12-foot tank. This is a 540-gallon aquarium. I'm not going to talk too much about this one here. We did talk about it in the last video, but for those that are new to the channel, this is a 12-foot long, 3-foot front to back, and 2-foot tall. It's sitting on the cart right now, and that big boy right there is going to go up against this wall right here in the corner. So we've already started prepping, and like I talked about in the last video, this is the bottom of the stand, this is the top of the stand, and we are going to build the entire filtration system underneath the tank at a 4 foot in height. So we're going to build a big old plywood box and completely make it so it's water safe. And then the lines from the 900-gallon tank, as you can see, they're already starting to arrive between the I-beams down through the floor. I'll get over here and show you a couple more here. But they're up inside here. And then the 360-gallon aquarium, it'll be arriving over here. So pretty much the 360 is going to be coming in here from the left. The 900 is going to be coming in here from the right. The 540 is going to be here in the middle. And then the filter is going to be underneath. Man, that is one big tank. So one thing we already did learn about this one is the fact that when I go to build this stand, we are not going to be able to get that tank on that stand. We literally don't have the room. So we already know that the chain falls and the slings are coming out. We're going to have to pick that thing up and raise it and drop it on the new stand. So man, that's a big job coming up. So Other than that, that's the end of this video. We'll see you guys on the next one. As you can see, the 1000 is up and running and cycling, and man, is that thing looking awesome. If you guys never seen that one, scroll back and take a look at the 20-some part series of the 1,000-gallon aquarium build out, and this one is underway, and it's only a matter of time before we start introducing fish to this one. Alright guys, we'll see you on the next video. Part 2.